The game we're playing today is a castle taking mission. As you can see, there are 4 towers as the castle, and they are the objectives. You have to be inside the castle to score the objectives unless the towers are destroyed, in which case you can then occupy them as a normal objective. There's a wood either side of the table, and a few hills and a ruin here at the back of the table. Mine today has brought a Tyranid Prime armed with a bone sword and a lash whip, and 3 Tyranid warriors all armed with bone swords, and they've got a barbed strangler. We have a unit of 5 Gene Stealers including a Broodlord, a unit of 9 Gene Stealers including a Broodlord, the 10 Termagants, which allow you to take the Tervigon, who has adrenal glands, 3 units of 2 Hive Guard. Then we have 1 Trygon Prime and 1 normal Trygon who has adrenal glands.
Bieltan is arrayed against them. They're led by the Faaris IV, who uses the Eldar rules, and she has aid which she was not expecting from a troop of Harlequins who have been lured to the planet by the rumours that there is a Chaos incursion on the way. With them there is also a unit of Howling Banshees led by an Exarch with a Executioner in a Shuriken Cannon Wave Serpent, a unit of Dire Avengers with an Exarch with dual Shuriken Catapults and the Defend power, also in a Shuriken Catapult Wave Serpent. She's brought with her a unit of Guardians with a Scatter Laser, and then for heavy support she has 3 Warwalkers armed with Scatter Lasers and 2 unupgraded Fire Prisms. Okay, so we're ready to go. The Hive Mind has taken the left hand side of the battlefield. The Tau Fire Warriors are quailing in their towers, and the Eldar War Host is here on the right hand side of the battlefield. The Hive Mind has a chance to steal initiative, otherwise the Eldar are going first, so here comes a roll.
Need a 6.
Oh dear, we'll see what happens.
Having seized the initiative on the first turn, the Tyranids move forward. The Hive Guard moved over to the right to attempt to get in range of the Warwalkers, but fell just short. The Tervigon managed to spawn 3 babies, and then its reproductive organs stopped working for the rest of the game. The other Hive Guard moved up into cover and again were out of range, while the Tyranid warriors moved towards the castle. The Trygon smashed into the wall but failed to penetrate its thick stone, while the Gene Stealers moved around the side but could not scale the wall.
So, the Eldar turn 1, we moved 2 skimmers jetting into inside the compound by going flat out. We have Harlequins racing towards the wall. Meanwhile, the Guardian unit and my heavy supports are laying down fire upon the Hive Guard. We've destroyed 1 Hive Guard, put another one to ground, and dealt 3 more wounds to the Hive Guard in total, so not a bad round shooting for turn 1.
Okay, Tyranid turn 2. The Hive Guard, well, one of them stood up, the other 2 moved forward and ran to get into a bit of cover. The Tervigon, no longer spawning, discharged out into the open, hoping to draw some fire. The 2 other Hive Guard fired their Seeking missiles over the wall into the back of the Wave Serpent and blew off its twin-linked Shuriken Cannon. Over at the wall, the Trygon managed to scale the side and attack the very wall he was standing upon. He hit quite a few times but failed to penetrate the stone again. The Gene Stealers, led by a Broodlord, managed to scale the wall and assault into one of the towers. The 5 Tau Fire Warriors guarding it managed to damage the Broodlord once and kill a Gene Stealer, and the Gene Stealers only killed 2 Fire Warriors in return. Combat drawn. Some Termagants came on the board edge and charged into the wall, and the Warriors managed to consolidate and get near to the wall. Nothing came on from reserve, unfortunately, that I needed.
For the Eldar, saw more heavy shooting inflicted upon the Hive Guard. There are now 3 Hive Guard remaining, one of which has gone to ground, and one of which has taken a wound. The Harlequins managed to effortlessly and balletically flip straight over the wall and onto the top of the wall. They then ran into this tower and butchered the Fire Warriors inside. The Dire Avengers and Howling Banshees disembarked. The Dire Avengers have gone in here and are having a messy fight against the Tau. 3 Tau remain, no casualties on the Dire Avengers. The Howling Banshees were going to go in and attack that tower, but unfortunately it's full of Harlequins, so they're still cooling their heels outside. The Wave Serpents moved back out again. This Wave Serpent moved down to take some shots on the Trigon to no avail. This Wave Serpent moved over to reinforce the Guardians. The Gene Stealers in the assault phase managed to finally finish off their Tau enemies and have moved back out onto the wall, where the Trigon is busy ripping up the paving stones and things, but no structural damage to the wall as yet.
Tyranid turn 3. The Hive Guard over here took pot shots at the Warwalkers, but failed to do anything, their squadron rule saving them. Hive Guard down here moved towards the castle along with the Tervigon, and shot and removed the second weapon from this Wave Serpent. Over on the castle walls, the Tyranid warriors managed to scale the sides, as did the Termagants, who are claiming one of the castle towers for the Tyranids. The Gene Stealers, showing their ineptitude again, managed to make it to another tower, but again were held to a draw in close combat by some Tau fire warriors. The Trigon, finally finding purchase on the stone, managed to destroy the gatehouse, making it easier for the rest of the Tyranids to enter the complex. The Dire Avengers managed to wipe out the last of the Tau fire warriors and have moved out onto the wall, moving over to combat the Gene Stealers, no doubt.
Eldar turn 3. The Fire Prisms moved into a defensive formation around the Warwalkers, for rumours had been felt in the Faaris runes that Gene Stealers may be emerging and may threaten the Warwalkers next turn.
Chance to be a fine thing.
The now glorified taxi with no weapons picked up the Guardians and moved them inside the compound. The other Wave Serpent moved up and poured some shots into the Trigon. The Harlequins and Howling Banshees both launched an assault on the Trigon, firing their shuriken pistols before they fired, and managed to take it down before it could strike back. The Dire Avengers moved from the furthest tower up to the second tower to try and hold that. The Warwalkers managed to destroy one of the remaining Hive Guard, so there are now 2 Hive Guard left out of Synapse range. And the Gene Stealers finally managed to finish off the final Tau's defender, and we are now Tau free.
Tyranid turn 4. The Hive Mind finally woke up to the Eldar threat. The 2 Hive Guard, sitting out of Synapse range in the ruin, fired on the Warwalkers, taking out 2 of them. The Gene Stealers, pouring on from the table edge, attacked the tank and the Warwalkers, dealing no damage, but managing to lock themselves in combat for another turn. Behind the castle walls it was carnage. The Trigon Prime popped up out of the ground, shooting up the Howling Banshee squad. Along with the fire from the Tyranid warriors, the Barber Strangler being quite deadly, they forced them to ground, taking them out of the fight for a turn. The Harlequins were massacred by shots from various Tyranids, and were charged by the Tervigon, who took out another warrior, leaving them with just the Troopmaster left. The Gene Stealers were cowering in their castle, and the Termagants managed to get into the other castle.
Turn 4 for the Eldar. The Fire Prisms tried a twin-linked shot in which they attempted to blow down the third tower along, and although a mighty chunk of masonry fell, the tower itself is intact. The Gene Stealers managed to wipe out the last of the Warwalkers and are making their way for the poorly defended Guardian Tower. Over inside the castle, the Eldar focused all their firepower on the Trigon. The Guardians fired their shuriken cannon. The Wave Serpent fired its their scud laser. The Wave Serpent fired its 2 shuriken cannons, and the Dire Avengers took to the roof, pouring firepower into the Trigon. It very nearly went down, but is still standing up. The Howling Banshees struggle to their feet, and the Troopmaster still bravely holds off the Tervigon, but surely his death must be inevitable. We move into turn 5. The Tyranids control 2 objectives, and the Eldar, technically the Eldar control 1 objective because the Dire Avengers are on the roof.
Tyranid turn 5. The Hive Guards, taking cover in the ruins, take pot shots at the 2 Fire Prisms, shaking one of them. The The Gene Stealers, moving very fast, managed to get to the edge of the wall. If the game goes another turn, they should scale it and kill some of the foul Eldar. Inside the castle, the Tervagon deals with the Troopmaster left over on the Harlequins and moves into the courtyard. Firepower from the Trigons and the Warriors manage to deplete the Howling Banshees enough that the Warriors can kill them in assault. The Gene Stealers and the Termagants are still hiding in their towers. Let's see if the Eldar can win.
Middle of Eldar turn 5, and the Trigon has to die. Its catalyst is up for protection. Fiathrendel, bravely leaving the safety of the fortress, charges out into the fray and attempts to mind war the Trigon, to no avail. The Guardians open up with their shuriken, their scatter laser, also dealing no damage to the Trigon, which has only got one wound left. Next, the Wave Serpent opens up with 3 shuriken cannons, causing not a scratch. Finally, in desperation, the Dire Avengers open up from the view slits. The Exarch missing, but the single lone Dire Avenger who can see through the other arrow slit has managed to score a wound. The armour roll has been failed. Only Catalyst remains. Damage! So, the Eldar turn 5. As we've seen, virtually all the Eldar took down the Trigon under the rate of their total firepower. The remaining Eldar tanks sought to break the will of the Hive Guard that were out of Synapse range, forcing one of them off, and the other one passed his leadership check and just moved out of the way. And the Operable Fire Prism took out a chunk of Gene Stealers, but didn't manage to reduce their numbers below half. They were within Synapse range of the Tervagon, so they didn't flee. At the end of the game, unfortunately, I'm afraid we rolled it off camera. So turn 5 was the end of the game. The Eldar held this tower with their Guardians, and this tower with their Dire Avengers. The Hive Mind holds this tower with the Gene Stealers, and this tower with the swarm of Termagants. So the game is decided on victory points. The Tyranids managed to wipe out the Howling Banshees, the Harlequins, and the Warwalkers, whereas the Eldar managed to wipe out 2 Hive Guard units, both Trigons, and reduce another Hive Guard unit to half strength, making it a narrow victory of 107 points to the Eldar. Had the game gone on further, things were looking bleak for our heroes. The Tyranid warriors were bearing down on the Dire Avengers, and even if they didn't manage to destroy them in combat, they surely would have contested the objective.